connectivity part of this. But yeah, we are doing very well. We have crossed the 50 million euro turnover level over last month, and growing over to the 60 million. We are growing in number of people a bit, also with some extra additional agents for certain areas. So we are growing with a good margin. And we are developing in different countries. What we see clearly is that we have a new group of clients in the packaging area, where we see more and more opportunity for our packaging lines and more complicated packaging product configurations. We see in Asia, we see an open market again. It was really heavy over the last 2 years, and we've seen now that borders are opening. There's more and more traction. There's more activities, and this leads to a large pipeline for over next year. So that's great to see. Of course, everybody knows that the whole imbalance in the supply chain, Asia versus Europe and America, as well as the Ukraine war, is actually heavily impacting different aspects of the business, like the lead times are excessively high. We have difficulty getting plastics, special components, semiconductors for our motor drives. We have difficulty getting it in time. It's for everybody a huge problem. We are happy to know that all competitors have the same problem, but still, we nearly doubled our lead times. That is, of course, heavily impacting. Also, we see price increases over many areas, like the raw components up to 200% growth, and travel and packaging and wood and paper, and it's all over the place, and everybody knows this, and this is influencing the total picture of the supply chain. But we cope well. We have a large intake as from December last year up till April, so we have never been on this level before, and that is great to know for everybody, and I hope you can benefit from this soon. Looking to the aspects of the subject of this meeting, there was a wish and a request from several agents to get some more insight on how things are running now on the themes of connectivity. Did we do the right thing? And also there's quite some new elements in what we are able to offer to the market. So that is something Mila and Kelvin will show you in a minute. And I went back to 3 years ago. Most of you were present at the Label Expo at that time. We presented Beyond the Machine. We had the feeling actually that there was something lacking. If we can produce and deliver a great machine and with a high quality level, we knew already that we were there, but we missed something. And the missing part was, how can we make sure these presses can be run to an optimum level? If we see that the specification of a machine, including die cutting, is like 150 meters per minute run speed, and in practice we see 60 or 50, we are starting to think, what's going on? What's happening there? Is there a traditional way of operating? What is really happening on the machine? If we know that in the demo center we can do a complex changeover in 60 minutes, and in practice it's more like an hour, we raise questions. Why is this? What can we do? And this cannot be solved with an even better machine. It can only be solved by investing into the operating procedures, investing into the way how the machines are being treated, and how to get the best value out of these assets. And we always say we want to have our clients run the presses and let them sweat. So we do see in the whole industry that the average machine is not sweating at all. And so that's what we started off 3 years ago. We went over the program of Beyond the Machine. We defined the new branding called Connect to Grow. And this brings us in the area of connectivity, because we knew that if we would know all the events taking place on the machine, we would also be able to communicate with customers on what's actually taking place, what are operators actually doing, and try to get into the area of consultancy or help in order to get to higher levels. So that was a good idea. We performed, we invested, but still we didn't know. And over last year, let's say last 2 years, we have connected 100 machines. We know every second what's happening on all these 100 machines. We learn a lot because we know of all the different types of machines, different types of operation. We know what the timings are, what the opportunities are. So that's done, and Mila can show some of the benchmarks maybe later. And we started off with what do we have, 10 programs where we actually helped customers to get to another level. And it's not always easy, but we have our first cases to show that it is up to 20%, 30% more productivity, or lower cost, up to 20%. It's huge amounts which we can earn if both parties, customer is open, agent can help out, also in languages and local situation, and we can help from a connectivity and technical part, and operational knowledge. We can help the customer to get to a far higher level. And we have now the proof that this is working. So it was an idea 3 years ago. It was executed 2 years ago, and we performed over the last 2 years. And we are now ready for actually all our customers to get involved in a certain way to be sure that to get to a high level. So that is basically the short timeline of 3 years. And now we're looking ahead to the next phase. We have some initiatives where we may do some production for customers, and we take full responsibility for the end product, so that we are interested in these kind of initiatives in order to be ready for the next phase of our vision, which would be printing as a service. So we would really take the full responsibility for the production. That's not where we are today, to be clear, but we are looking into this, what is needed to get control over a situation far away, to be sure that there's a certain quality level agreed to. And we're also busy with several concepts of environmental new regulations, where we see that we have a lot of data to show what the energy level is, what the waste percentage is, and we can actually point towards the actual losses in the chain, which will be very essential for the brand owners like Unilever, like the bigger retail chains. They are more and more starting to get to very thorough measures, and they request a report for all products made. Is this made without too many losses? What is the energy saving done on this product? And it's not affecting a lot of customers yet, but it will come in the next few years, and we are preparing for this. And this is all based on the data we have for all the machines we are delivering as from today. So that is the brief introduction. Maybe there's question on this, because it's actually executing our vision, and we try to get feedback on the market. Can we change some things? Can we add some other elements? And maybe Mila and Kelvin will also give some overview on the roadmap of our innovations, like we are connecting with CERM and maybe other MIS software players. We are connecting with GEW and maybe other curing system in order to know on the spot the energy levels and the values of lamps. We are trying to connect with automation systems in order to have feedback on register and pressure settings. So we're moving step by step, and it's going quite fast, and we are more or less spending 600,000. We did spend 1 million per year on these developments to be sure that we are actually in the top of insight we can get to. And we do believe we've seen some initiatives from competitors, but that's more like speed analysis and service oriented products. We are we think at least 2 years in front of any other initiative in small and mid-web labeling and packaging. That is the view I would have, and maybe there's some questions on this, or remarks or criticism. I would be happy to respond to these. If not, I'm giving the presentation over to Mila. I think you would you would show what we are able to today.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So up to you.
I'll,
if you have any questions later, please ask.
So today I will. Ats, have you still your microphone on? So today I will show the MPS Connect portal, and I will mainly focus on the performance dashboard. We also have live data available for our performance program customers. And in the future, we are also adding videos to the portal and creating more learning environment. So, but today I will mainly focus on the performance dashboard. So this is our homepage, and I will first explain a bit more about how we receive the data. So we continuously receive data like the web speed, but also all the events, for example, when a button is pressed on the machine, or when settings are done. And based on all these events and in combination with web speed, we can create different time slots. So for example, when is the machine in production, when is the machine in setup, etc. And based on that, we've created this dashboard. So currently we have around 100 presses connected, and each new press is connected, so it's still growing. And these insights are refreshed 3 times a day. So on this page, you can see things like how often is the machine being used, how often is the machine in actual production compared to the available time. In the middle, you can see when is the machine in production compared to when was the machine in changeover. How many production hours were there? What was the average speed of the day? What was the waste length of the day? Etc. And we have also some more insight in jobs. So how many jobs were there? What was the average length of the job? And how is it divided in the production part and in the changeover part? And on the right, you can compare yourself to a larger period. So for example, this customer had yesterday quite a large amount of production compared to his normal average amount per month, or his overall average. The same is for his waste percentage. Yesterday he had a quite low waste percentage compared to his normal waste percentage. And also the speed, he can see that the speed was around his average, so pretty high actually. So on this page, this is mainly focused on yesterday, but if you want to, you can also go to the day before, for example, or view a whole week or month. On the left, we have.
What a lot of customers also doing is with this homepage is that they use it to print it out, or they have big screens in their production facility to show their performance and to give insight to everyone in the organization, which helps to get them to a new level as well. And we always encourage customers to discuss these numbers with their shift leaders or their production managers to get to know information about their performance and to open the discussion on how to improve it.
Yes.
Mila, how do we calculate availability? What is the calculation for availability?
Yes, if you hover over the icons, you can see it's the production time compared to the staff time. And the staff time is the on time minus the time that the machine was, that there was no activity on the machine.
Okay.
Any other questions already?
And then the utilization will be a direct correlation of the availability of the press. So when the press is available for 45%
Yes.
of the time, are we then saying that the utilization of that 45% is 52% of the availability time?
Yes, utilization looks at the staff time compared to how much it was actually manned. So there was actual activity happening on the machine.
Okay. Thank you.
One question, Mia, whatever changeover times that we are seeing, they seem to be pretty high. That is something which I would query. If you can elaborate more on that.
I will show that more in detail on one of the next pages, which shows all the different classifications we make and explain how these are calculated. So on the next page, we have our trends. And the trends page is mainly used to track performance over time, to see how, for example, speed is related to the waist length or to the changeover time, for example. And on this page, you can on the left see the average of that whole selected period. For example, now we've selected the whole available data for 1 year. So for example, the average speed of this machine is 90 meters per minute. And then the customer can track over time per month, is my average speed increasing or decreasing? And how is it related to my average speed? It's also possible to show it in a graph. So you can see that this customer is around 90 meters per minute, and it does not really differ a lot during the time. The same is possible for the weeks. So then we can really focus on each week. Is it already improving? So we can view it in more details. The next page is the week view. I've selected this week. So you can see there are already 4 days available. And it shows all the speeds per day, for example, Monday to Thursday. And this can help to see if there are differences in web speed. For example, sometimes we notice that there are large differences between shifts. So some shifts have much higher web speeds than other shifts. Or it can be used to see when there was a large gap in the time. So what happened there? And next to that, we have general numbers available. So how much was produced that day? What was the average speed of the day? How much was the production time, for example? So for example, let's say you want to know more about a certain day. Then you can go to the detail page. And then you can exactly zoom in on a certain day. For example, I've zoomed in here on the 18th of May. And then it shows the whole web speed of the day, including all classifications that were made. On top here, you can see all the jobs that happened that day. And we base the jobs on when a sleeve change is happening. So once a sleeve is locked, unlocked and locked again, we say, okay, a sleeve change happened. So based on that, we can say, okay, when the machine is standing still after the last production, a new job starts. So for example, let's say we want to see more about this job, then we can click on it and we can get all the details of that job. It's automatically only filtered on that job. So we can see what the average speed of the job was, but also exactly know when was a roll change happening, how long did the sleeve change take, etc. So a job starts when the sleeve change happens, and it goes back to the last time there was production of the previous job. So that's when the real job starts. And that's also when the changeover starts. So changeover starts when a new job starts, and it lasts until the production of the new job is starting. So all the settings are done and the machine is in production again. And we divide the changeover in two parts. One part when the machine is standing still, for example, to change the rolls and sleeves, and one part when the machine is running with slow speeds to, for example, set up the register and pressure settings. And that's how we calculate these parts.
Mila, how do we, a pretty common action point in a normal printing shop would be maybe that the operator has to stop the machine, remove maybe a couple of sleeves, take them to the plate mounting department, have the plates remounted, then he brings them back to the machine, and let's say that takes 15 minutes or 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not a new job. So how do we guard against calling it a new job when he starts to set up again? Because it would be the original job, but how do we know that it's not the original job, or how do we know it's a new job? Because he spent 20 minutes, so that's quite a lot of downtime, but that's not uncommon. That's quite a common thing to happen. So do we have a mechanism that guards against us believing that they are running two jobs instead of one job?
No, currently we really just look at if the sleeve is being locked in and out again. And really based on that, yes.
And that's also the reason, Nick, we are now developing an integration with SERM and other MIS partners, because then we have more job information as well, and then we can link it to each other, and then we can further, we can be even more accurate in determining the jobs. What we now see is that we are 95% accurate, close to that. But with that integration, it will be 100%.
Okay.
Okay. So next to that, so once the changeover is finished, we can say, okay, the production starts, and it lasts again until a new sleeve change happens. And we even have more insights. So if you, for example, hover over this job, you can see what kind of material was used, if job memory was turned on, and which printing stations were active. So this page is mainly focused to if you really want to know exactly what happened on that day.
If we are we able to offer, or are we thinking to offer the customer the ability to be able to have their operator log in, so that we know that, because we can compare shift to shift, but of course operators swap shifts, and you don't really know which operator is on which shift. So do we have, or are we thinking to offer an ability for the operator to maybe swipe in, or so that we know that it's this guy on this shift, this is his performance data?
Yes.
And this is kill the guy. This is to say, hey, you know, there's obviously a training issue here or a fundamental skill issue because this guy, you know, we see this job run 4 times per week or 4 times per month, and this guy constantly underperforms the other guys on the shift patterns. So we need to get into this guy, see what he needs.
Yes. Yes, on all the new presses, there is an operator login. So therefore we have a separate dashboard available, which really is focused on the operators. Also because you don't want, not every customer wants to compare between different kind of persons. But on new presses, it will be available, yes.
Perfect, thank you.
So the next page.
Vijay here, question. Like we have this presentation of a machine utilization level of, let's say, 52%, which is pretty high. I think the average utilization levels, what we observed, was about 30% earlier, started the program. Can we have a display like this for a machine which is giving that kind of an output with their average speeds, etc.? Because that then will be a good comparative for the customer to say how much more efficiency he gets. Otherwise, there is no comparison point. It's like it's like I'm 6 feet tall, but you will realize that only if you have somebody 5 feet next to me.
Yeah, so you would like to have. So you would like to have a best practice benchmark, basically. Is that what you mean?
I would like to have a normal machine where we have 30%, 32% utilization. Similar, let's say, recording, wherein we have all the data on it. We can show him this is how normally it runs, let's say in Europe also, or any one of our customers. And by just taking on connectivity, this is how much improvement they can see, because it's virtually like buying one more press when you're increasing utilization by 25%.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, so we have benchmark studies available.
Customers.
Yeah, so we have benchmarks and available, and we can share something on that, which you can share with customers, because then you can see the gap between an average performer, for example, and a top 10% performer, and that is also translated into business value, like how much additional production volume is it resulting in, and how much cost savings is that resulting in? What is the waste reduction if of a top performer compared to an average performer? So there we have numbers on.
Okay, thank you.
Is that industry specified as well, Kelvin, so that we're not comparing a guy that runs shrink sleeve with a guy that runs, you know, high quality beverage labels, for instance?
Yeah. So what we now have done is segmented basically all the customers in 6 or 7, I'm not sure, sub-segments. So for example, flexible packaging, including lamination. Then we have self-adhesive labels, but also lamitube and a few more. So I think for self-adhesive labels we have 3 levels of complexity, for example. So we have segmented it in 6 or 7 segments, and that is how we group it to compare them with each other.
And do we have any data that we could share with customers, similar to the question that Vijay asked, when we have, let's say, we've entered into the performance program with a customer, and
definitely.
We have
definitely. So, and I will also, so we can. I think it is a good idea if I share like an overview of the benchmarks per sub-segment. However, for each customer, when we start a performance program, so when we are really going to actively support them to improve, then we do a customer analysis, and then we do not focus on, we of course we take into account the segment they're operating in, but it is really tailor-made.
Okay, good, thanks.
Okay, so on the next page, we have a general production overview. So on this page, it's mainly interesting to select, for example, 1 or 2 months. so you can see how it goes over time again. So this customer can track how much he produced each week, what his waste percentage was, what kind of jobs occur most, which speeds he uses most. So this includes also the setup speeds. So that's why the 20 is pretty high. And what his average production speed is. And you can also get his insights based on a job level. So again, the average job length and the average waste per job, because we see sometimes the waste percentage can be pretty low, but when a customer has very large jobs, he has in a percentage, his waste percentage is pretty low, but still his waste percentage per job can be pretty high. Again, with how long does each job on average take, and how long does the changeover, for example, take on average per job, and the production time. So that's mainly what this page shows. And then we have the changeover page. The changeover page is made to make it give an easy overview of the changeover compared with the sleeve change and roll change. So are they related to each other? How many changeovers occurred, and what is the average of that changeover? The same is for the sleeve and roll change. And if you want to know, dive deeper in, for example, changeover or sleeve change, you can go to the tab and see exactly how is the deviation between the static and the dynamic part. So sometimes we see customers a lot of trouble with the static part, and other customers take much longer on the dynamic part. So that's one thing they can then focus on. And again, they can exactly see how long each changeover took and the averages.
Yeah, and about the changeover feature, you just mentioned, hey, it looks long, the changeovers. I think what I can say about that is that we look at the machine activity. So when there's no machine activity for 30 minutes, it can be cleaning, it can be plate mounting, but it can also be a break. So sometimes breaks, cleaning, plate mounting, etc. is all included in the changeover time, except when the machine is switched off. So that is currently the situation. What we are now adding is that we will include on short term also the time there's no activity on the machine. So for example, then you can see in a changeover there's 30 minutes in a row no activity on the machine, which may mean there's a break, or machine is cleaned, or the plate mounting took longer than expected. So then you will have more details on that as well.
So question here, why don't you put in the waste percentage incurred on the red marks itself? Because then if there is a standstill due to whatever reason, you can exactly measure it against the waste, and you know that it was because of cleanup or whatever, and not because of material being wasted. So do you segregate the waste into roll change or setup or other stops? Do you have that kind of segregation? It's basically you have to correlate.
Sorry, but
you have to correlate the time taken versus the wastage incurred in that time. And that can give you a very clear idea as to what is your roll change wastage in terms of meters, what is your job setup change. And then if you take 1 hour, but your wastage is, let's say, average, that means it was just cleaning or other things which is happening in that time.
Yeah, but there will be no waste in that point because you're static.
Exactly. Mm. So you have wasted time, but no wastage. So it gives you a very clear indication that something else was happening and material was not being wasted in that period.
Yeah, exactly. So we can identify it, but that is we need to still visualize that better. So that is what we are now doing, and that will be available on short term. Yeah.
Primarily, what I'm saying is we have a waste percentage, but do we break it up into different types of waste?
Waste is currently only the length, so the material being used.
Okay, so if you start segregating that into, for example, waste matrix is a process waste, which has to be there. So that's almost a fixed average, you can say. Depends on smaller or larger labels, but it is a fixed percentage for any given size of label. Then you have process wastage. I mean, you have on-press wastage, which is startup wastage, which is also roll change wastage, matrix change wastage, and wastage during stops. So when you have this data and then you correlate it against the time chart, you know exactly what is happening then.
Yeah, I think we need to. I think that's a good suggestion, and I think we can take it separately to discuss further how you see it. I think we can learn.
Do you also have an ability to, let's say, pause this when the customer is maybe doing a press pass, or do we have an ability to tell the system that we are doing a press pass, or we are doing material testing, or we are doing ink testing, or ink trials, or analox trials? Because obviously those are, you know, those are big influences in the data, toward the data, but maybe, you know, the customer would like that not to be included in his performance data. So he would like to separate that as testing, for instance, or customer pass.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so currently we cannot do it, but that is on the roadmap. And I'm pretty convinced. I agree with you, but still, the data is detailed and gives context. And the goal is, of course, to improve your trend every month for a customer, and that is still possible with it. But that is something which is on the roadmap to include, because that can be valuable.
Also, do you record something called maintenance time? Can this be recorded? Because that can become a very pertinent factor when the resale of the machine comes up, or when we try to assess a service call. If it is not serviced or maintained internally also, then you know that it is going to have much more work to be done.
Not at this moment. So currently we do not make use yet of input from the operator, except for when he is logging in with his ID. But no further information on what he is doing.
So we give a login to the maintenance guy. We can give a login to the maintenance guy also.
Yes, exactly. But currently that is not the case. And but those are all good suggestions. And we need to prioritize in the team what we are developing first. So we want everything to do it all together immediately, but unfortunately that's not possible. But I definitely agree with you that is would be a valuable addition. Also, looking at the time, do you want to show anything more, Mila?
No, I will just quickly show. We also have the alarm messages available, and these are mostly interesting for internal service department. And that was it actually.
Okay, then I will take it over. Yeah, so I'll spread strategy and you're below it already. And Mila just showed you MPS Connect, like the portal with the performance dashboard. And we also have indeed the live data dashboard that is currently available in the EF7 presses, so the newest presses which are now being installed. So they're 2 machines in the field right now with a second screen basically which shows live data of the machine. We are now working on a process that also gives immediate feedback on, hey, you can improve here and you're doing well, to give feedback to operators. So that's the goal, that it becomes an interactive tool for to improve the performance of the customer. So that is basically the goal. But this is only what Mila showed, was only the data. It is the data is key, valuable, and we can see a lot on distance on what customers are doing and where they can improve. But now, how can we help? So we have basically 3 stages. We have the MPS Connect, that is what Mila just showed. We have the portal, and we have a performance program. And within the performance program, we actively help customers to translate the insights into improvements. So we do that with video analysis, online learnings, and lectures. We are now developing an e-learning environment where customers can train themselves. That is also immediately accessible from the machine itself to train operators at the machine in real life. And we have a financial model, which is the total cost of ownership model, and that helps customers to prioritize improvements. So we basically simulate the environment, the production environment of a customer. We enter all the numbers, all the factors which are influencing the performance, and then we basically play with it and show, hey, what happens if, for example, you are able to improve your speed with 10 meters? What happens with your total production volume in a year? And what happens with your cost with your costs on a yearly basis? So that it gives really valuable input for customers on, hey, this is what I need to improve right now. And we do that with quarterly and sometimes monthly performance improvement meetings where we coach customers and where we give them all the tools to and recommendations to help them improve. So we provide reports, recommendation reports. We can give them access to e-learning. We can give them live training online, and sometimes we even go to customers to help them on certain topics to improve, and that really results in a big big performance improvements at customers. And then the third step is a life cycle optimization program. There we are helping basically. That is where our full service department comes in as well. We do annual or physical inspections once a year or twice a year. We offer extended warranty, including 24/5 help desk and remote support, and we help proactively analyze service alerts and alarm messages from MPS Connect. So that also helps customers to get their machine to minimize downtime. So that is also basically the goal of the performance program, to reduce the 6 big losses. Maybe you know them, but we want to reduce small stops, and we decide to maximize the speed and to minimize rejects. So that is the end goal of the performance program, to remove all the burdens to perform. Mila mostly showed this already, and I think one additional great tool we have is the industry benchmarking, which I already explained. And there we can segment all customers into 6 or 7 sub-segments, and there we can benchmark them against each other. Like, what is your speed compared to the other ones? What is your changeover? How do you perform a roll change? How do you do register settings? How do you do pressure settings compared to other ones? And where can you still improve? And where is your biggest improvement potential? And this is quick view on what we are doing. So we have the e-learning environment where customers can train themselves, and we also have the total cost of ownership model, the financial analysis. And that is what I would like to show you quickly. I just took an example, so this is not from a real customer, but it is similar to a real customer. And what we do here is that we can play around with the changeover times, with the average speeds, with the utilization. And for example, what does happen with the production volume if this customer would increase speed with 5 meters per minute, that would already result in a 3%, almost 3% production volume increase per year, and that is a cost saving of 18,000. These are the general numbers, but when we are doing this with a customer, we really go into detail. So there's much more underneath it, but yeah, that is complex, and I will not explain everything, but it really goes into detail, into machine configuration, the build-up of a changeover process, the design the customer is using, and that helps to that really gives an accurate estimation of the production of a customer. So that really helps to prioritize the improvements. And how we do it, this is an overview. This is an example of how we do it. So we have MPS Connect. Customers are onboarded properly. In that they get a training for MPS Connect, and they get a mini analysis twice a year. So there we provide customers a benchmark study of how they perform compared to their competitors, and where they can make their biggest improvements. So that is MPS Connect. If customers choose for a performance program, there we really go actively help them to optimize all activities around the machine and how to treat the machine. So we do a data analysis every month, the performance analysis, but we also want to get more understanding of what is happening around the press. So we can, for example, see that the roll change or the speed is not optimal according to the benchmark, but to improve, we also need to know what is happening around the press. Like, is the material not ready? Is there something wrong with the material, or are the logistic processes or the walking distances of between for the operator are too big? So that is something we analyze with the video analysis, and we provide recommendations based on that, and to really help the customer translate those recommendations into practice. We do online training, e-learning, but also live. So that is the total package of the performance program, and we evaluate it on a yearly basis, and we set new goals together with the customer, and that results in big improvements. And we do it with a multidisciplinary and dedicated team. So there's Mila's part of the team, the data scientist, Frank as a printing expert, and myself as a product manager, and we are supported by other people from MPS. So yeah, it just shows that it is multidisciplinary, and both from data perspective as from printing perspective, and that helps to really optimize the performance and go into detail with customers. And what MPS brings in is a fresh outside-in view, new ideas and inspiration, access to broad and deep expertise, especially from tech and the data scientist. And we give real insights in business value with the TCO model. And that also helps customers to understand their own situation and to help them make, for example, investment decisions on further automation of their production facility. We provide customers with best practices and benchmarks. What we now see is that customers are really looking for that. They do not know where they stand compared to their competitors, because they do not know what is happening in other production facilities and how they are performing compared to others. So that really gives them strategic information on how to remain or to become competitive in the industry. So that is important. And what we do is that we stimulate a continuous improvement mindset at the customer, and we provide all tools to improve. I think we do not only give the insight in performance, but we also have the tools available to translate it into improvements, and that is something really valuable, which others cannot offer. So we have the unique combination of fact-based data directly from the machine, combination with the performance culture and tools we have available makes us unique. And in the future, we will further.
Kelvin,
yeah.
when you have the video, the training videos available?
Yeah, so we have a few available right now, and we are. It is one of our priorities to develop it further. So I can give you some more information on when everything will be ready. And we start with 10 key themes like speed, changeover, waste, how to use job memory, how to change a role, how to change a sleeve, how to do a full changeover. And then from there, we are going deeper and deeper in the applications and as well.
Okay.
Kelvin, one more suggestion. Now that with the EF7 series, we are able to have operator login, then can we wouldn't it be a good idea that we have operator-wise efficiency measurement, and then we can certify them as master printer or whatever, because these operators go to other customers and they can show it. Something like Avery does it for all operators. Oh, they are certified PS label printing guys kind of thing. And these guys can proudly put it on their resume, and then obviously it acts well that he can perform that efficiency only on the MPS. So
yeah, I agree.
Adding that would be a very good tool also out there.
It's a great idea.
You bring in competition between the operators also within the organization.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
So it's self-serving where they feel awarded and everyone competes to give better performance.
Yeah, great idea.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I already mentioned it, and also as well, we are now connecting with CERM to other MIS systems to generate better, smarter insights to provide a even fuller view of the job compared to what we have now. And I think one other big improvement for the coming period that takes some time still, but that we are going to a smart maintenance setup where we proactively and automate where alarm messages are analyzed fully automated, and that we also give customers the tools to help them to make sure that those alarm messages will not occur anymore in the future. So that is something we are busy on now, together with the energy saving and waste reduction indicators. That will still take some time, but that is yeah, a big next step for the future. Then a few case studies. Yep.
When do you expect the connectivity to CERM is? When is that possible?
We are now we are now in a test phase. So when it will be fully ready for customers, I expect still definitely still this year, but
okay.
If it will be Q3 or Q4, it's difficult for me to say because the testing we need to make sure that the quality is good before we make it.
Of course.
Before we go to the market with it.
I have another question. Maybe you answered it already, but I didn't hear it. Then the old machines. How old How old machines are we able to connect into?
Yeah, so I'm not exactly sure. So I know basically from the age somewhere between the age 650 and age 700, those machines can be connected, and from the I think the age 83 or age 800, all machines are already connected. So we already collect all the data.
Age
and for
650.
the machine from the H650, there we can do an upgrade, but it's not exactly the H650, but somewhere around that. So if you have specific questions around it, just reach out to to your regional sales director or to me, and then we can identify what is needed to upgrade the machines.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I think we have only 1 or 2 minutes. Yeah, I would like to share one case study, or maybe I do one more, but this is a big success story. So we maybe you already know it as such, but there we have a strategic partnership, improve performance, and there we their roll change time reduction was they reduced their roll change time with 50%. And their changeover times, and they increased their speed. So we really intensively worked together with them to improve their performance. And I think that the biggest success here is that they started from a situation there where they were not performance oriented. So their operators, when the machine was down or not running properly, the operators thought, okay, time for a coffee, it's okay. And now it's a totally different situation where the operators basically almost get angry when the machine is not running optimal, because they want the machine to run optimal and to perform better. And that is a big culture shift which is made in SIs, and MPS initiated that with the performance program, because we gave them the tools and the knowledge to how to improve. And what they did is that they have a weekly meeting with the shift leaders, with the shift leaders of the MPS machines, to discuss, hey, what went well, what went wrong, and why was you not able to reach the calculated speed, and what were the barriers for that. And they step by step they're removing those barriers, and they started with one MPS machine. And what they are now doing is scale it into their full organization. So not only with the MPS machines, but they are also translating it to other machines they have in their production facility. Of course, not everything can be translated to other machines, like job memory usage, but a lot of things can be translated and scaled into the organization, and that is. They get a lot of value out of it with this program, and that is a nice success story. And this is really a broad program with where they improve basically everything. But there are also customers which are already performing very good, which are on the top of the market. And this is an example. And this customer now produces around 20 million meters per year, and they want to go to 25 million meters. So where we are now working, where we have been working on in past period, is to increase their speed with, and they are now reaching higher speeds, and that already gives them more production capacity. So what you see is that they're already producing 1 million meters per year more with only the speed increase. And the next step is to reduce their changeover times. And then they should be able, with some more improvements, to reach 25 million meters per year. So that is a big goal, and this is really a good example of a high-performing customer.
Kelvin, this benchmarking is against an 8-hour shift or what?
Yeah, so this customer is running, I don't know exactly, to be honest, but I think 3 shifts of 8 hours, 5 days a week, I think. But we basically model it for each customer. So these scenarios are based on basically the production setup of this customer, and during a performance program we simulate it for each customer. So in the financial model I have just shown here, you can also fill out the shift system. So that basically includes all components which affect the production volume.
Okay. That's good. Thank you.
Okay, I think we are over time.
I have one question, Kelvin.
Yeah.
What sales tools are available for our partners?
Yeah, so we have a few sales tools. We have a sales pitch presentation sales deck. So that is one. We can already do total cost of ownership financial model in the acquisition process. So there we already do a basic stimulation of their prediction, and we analyze where they can improve according to the configuration of the machine and the jobs they run. So that is something. And of course, we can show MPS Connect demonstration. And for some customers, if they are visiting the Netherlands, we can also organize reference visits to customers who are already working with us. So those are the 4 big.
So all agents have access to the demo site to show a demo version of the MPS Connect screen.
And also the
they can
TCO modeling?
TCO
Sorry.
modeling is something we cannot share access to, but MPS Connect, yes.
Sorry, your answer got lost. Do they, yes or no, have access to the demo site?
They can have. I don't know. Some of them have. Some of you have, and some of you don't have, I think. But definitely, you can have access.
Thank you.
Just as a kind of reversal on how we sell it, because let's face it, it's got to pay for itself. Maybe what we can consider also is supplying this for a 3-month period when the machine is installed with the customer, and we really get into the ribs, as we say in the UK. You know, we absolutely service the shit out of these guys, and we give them more data than they know what to do with, and give them every credential that we can possibly offer. And after 3 months, we say, well, that's your free time up. Now then, Mr. Customer, would you like to discuss about how we move forward with the performance program? Because right at this minute, we might have a lot of guys that understand all of this, and we might have a lot of guys that don't understand all of this.
Yeah.
So
So what we are now doing is that the data part is already included into all machines, also because there's a second screen on the machine, and there's hardware allocated to connect to the data required. So the first year MPS Connect is always included. So every customer has access to MPS Connect for the new machines which are sold now. And then after the first year, we automatically renew it. The same goal. The goal is that performance programs are included into 75% of the machine deals from 2023 and 50% in 2022. So that is something we're now working to. And what we see is that all customers see the value of the performance program. We have now new customers who are just starting to use an MPS press. And those customers, we really help them also to give them advice on how to treat the press. And once we are out of that situation, we really help them to improve the performance. So every customer sees who is working with us sees the value. Basically, all the customers also extend the program after a year. So that is a good sign of the value we deliver.
Maybe Nick, can I comment on that based on some experiences with customers from Asia? They always told me the price is too high, 12,000 plus for the performance contract. They can hire a graduate and do the same job, they think. But especially after visiting S-House together with these customers, they realize that what they need is a change of mindset. And here MPS really facilitates in. Yeah, so I compare it, or they compare it with having an ISO program implemented. What you do, you get your ISO consultant, and they do the kickoff, they do the monthly meetings, they give you tools. And I think this is how we should see the performance programs. Yeah, I mean, the price which we ask for the customers is really not high. If you think this as a facilitation program with a lot of tools, with a lot of knowledge. And really what we do is a change facilitate a change in mindset. Yeah, so I think that this was India and Indonesia, two low-cost countries, and they go ahead with it. And I have issues with a customer in Australia, and high-cost country, because they have not seen that yet. Yeah? We are working on that, but it's very much a facilitation that we offer, and 12,000 plus is really not much if you compare that with similar programs.
I don't think anybody complains about the 12,000 euros. I don't get any pushback on that. What I do get a pushback on is that they don't particularly see the intrinsic value of the program. And you are quite right, Tim, in what you say. You are more than right. It's a cultural shift. It's a differential shift in terms of how they view their asset. So, you know, when I'd say first started talking about sweating the asset, you know, when if you want to sweat the asset, this is the way to sweat the asset. But in order to do that, you need to know you need to know your datum point. So where are you now? And you then need a correlation of goals to get to where you want to be, or you know, just keep going until you max the asset. But it's never about the money. It's more about the mindset and the culture and the gift of you know what this program can do. That's the differential.
That's right, Nick. And it's very hard for the own people in the organization to arrange that. But if you have a third party in the organization, it helps you. You know, SIs, for example, they have 2 process analysts. They could do it themselves, but MPS very much facilitated the whole process. So I think that is really where our value comes in for the performance programs, that we facilitate the change.
So Tim, that brings us to the same point, that first we have to prepare the right story and presentation. For that, we need comparison against maybe competition, against our unconnected machines and our connected and EF7 levels. So that becomes very important, where it transcends, let's say, cultural barriers and makes a customer understand of how well it performs. To give you an example, in some of the machines where we are talking of average speeds of 94, those machines have been run at more than 150, 160, some of them at 200 meters also, which is not possible with other machines. Yes, there are 1 or 2 which can do it, but the basic issue is you have something called stability of print, which is there on MPS, and we have to use that to our benefit, because this same stability, what limits an operator to run at a particular speed? That's the stability of the press, where he gets stable register. That becomes the limiting factor, and that's where he runs it. It might be due to material, press, inks, whatever. But mostly it is the press which limits you to a given average 60, 70 meters. And it's these same operators who come on our presses, and then they are just plain habituated to run at 60 and 70 meters. So the presentation, the story has to be nice. The TCO has to be easier, so we can straight away show comparison. And I'm not going to share this with customers. Again, make it very clear to everyone, you cannot share. I can do the calculation, show it to him, and bye-bye. Maybe you keep it online, whatever. So that would help things further this. And also, as I said, maintenance logs, if you can have that, and also it will help in other areas within our organization. Because when you're going to push the equipment to this high performance, then you also need maintenance records, hours. There are machines which give you how many kilometers an analog roll has run and when it is time to change it. So that is maybe the next level. But Fisher and Craig, for example, have that in their machine. And it helps because analog scroll or a sleeve is something that you have a 8-week, 10-week delivery on. But if you know that maybe 6 months in advance, you can plan it and not have any problems with your production. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. I think we are we run already out of time.
We are really run out of time, but very thank you. I'm not sure Asta is still here, but Mila and Kevin for your presentations and also for the agents who are participating in this meeting. So if you have other questions about the MPS Connect and also a performance program, please send us an email, then we will respond accordingly. And after this meeting, I will share the recording of this training, and I will gather some informations like the presentations like that Kevin share, and also how to access to our Connect demo page. From there, you can maybe play around. Then anything, you just come back to the sales director or just send an email to marketing or MPS Connect teams. Okay, so I wish everyone have a great weekend, and I see you next time.
Thank you.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for organizing.